Hello?
Ads are starting. Dylan will continue the conversation after the ads are over. Thank you for supporting the stream.
Hello?
Oh, hello there!
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to whatever day of the week it is. I think it's Tuesday, but you never know until about 10 minutes in the stream if I actually will remember that. Suffice to say, we are here on the Java server from DadCraft73. Want to say good morning to Bob for being Johnny on the spot today, and then Fantastic Sherlock Fox. Hopefully you guys are doing well as Mama Bear. We'll see if your day is all right. I'm hoping that it's okay so far. And yeah, cleaning days are never refreshing for me, but they're necessary. Refreshing, no. Resetting, maybe, if they're done deep enough. So I don't mean just like, vacuum the carpet deeply. I mean as in like put away stuff, reset things that way. Alright, so where we left off on yesterday was doing Lego, followed by some Metal Earth, which the Metal Earth, janky. So I don't know if we're going to continue that on stream. In spite of the voting, the numbers did not necessarily have a great time with that, so that's okay. Things happen. We'll have to get feedback to see if people actually enjoyed it or not. But where are we here? But where we left off on Friday was working on the nightmare of a build for the Nowhere Man. I'm going to take a long road around for purpose. And I'll show you where that got to. Oops. And I have to remember to change my sound. I don't remember that.
Oh, hello there!
Nope, that's not working today. I must have that cable used for something else. Done. Welcome on in, Poodle Pirate. Hopefully you are doing well today. Hello. Poodle Pirate apparently has a chaotic Minecraft adventure, according to Oswin. Juggles gaming, parenting, a lively bird, and a dog. Yep, that's a good way of putting it. So, our thing has been completed to the point that I felt was good enough. We got the record all sorted out, so it doesn't look that bad. And this, this is what we came up with. Let me just do the pre-cam thing. This is what we ended up with. So yeah, it's a little bit weird, still. But there's limits to what Minecraft can do, and limits to what my skills can do. So yeah, this is what we've got. That's the Nowhere Man. The AI is spot on. Well, the lively bird and dog anyways. You don't usually have to juggle parenting in the middle of a stream, unlike some. So yeah, this is what we've got for Nowhere Man. I almost forgot to do his fluffy tail, but we got that part too. So yeah, this is where we're leaving it. And today's project, aside from not getting killed, is to go and get some sand. We need a good amount of it so that we can... Yeah, he does actually. Okay, just so everybody's got the reference. You can see the little Nowhere Man guy on screen. I didn't line that up correctly, but it'll work. Let's back it up. A little freaky from underneath, but yeah. So he's the Nowhere Man. And he's attempting to sit in his nowhere land. I'm hoping he's not making plans. He looks a little scary. But I mentioned to my son last night that he also looks to me a lot like one of the characters from their Nintendo's Switch Splatoon game. Basically, the guy looks like a manta ray. He's a little flat on the underside, and a character named Big Man. And then as soon as I said that, my son's like, "Yep, that's totally right." Alright, so today, yeah, as I said, we need sand. I just want to double check to make sure we have enough spoons to get us through. Still haven't settled on hourglass versus pocket watch. I mean, hey, if I'm organized, maybe I'll do both. But at the moment, I'm leaning towards pocket watch, just because it's something I've never done before. So we're going to need some gold as well, but I don't know anything about getting that at the moment. And I don't know anything about mining sand either. Okay, so we could probably use another spoon or two. I won't soup them up because I don't think we should waste the time on that. I could Silk Touch. Yeah, Silk Touch spoon. Use that for later, maybe. Yeah, let's save that one. Including knockback, nothing else necessary. I had a lot of input from my son on the mouth section. I kept bugging him over and over. Then I was also bugging Fantastic Sherlock Fox. And it actually came out better. I don't at the moment, but you never know. I've got a few. But yeah, as you've discovered, Poodle, flower farms on Java can be a pain in the backside. Even if you find yourself in a flower forest that has most of them, it's such a pain. I did that a few years ago. I think just before I started streaming. My thing was a flower shop, and that was the giant flower we talked about 30,000 times with the bees floating around inside. And for me, the most annoying part was actually finding the biomes to be able to have all the right flowers. Because in Java you can duplicate the double height flowers, but you cannot duplicate the single height ones. You have to be in the correct biome to use bone meal to get them to spawn. Okay, I don't have any spoons. That's kind of annoying because that means we might need to spend some of our wallet. And I'm getting closer. I'm almost there. So this is our beacon that travels, right? We've got 2 stacks and 36. I need to get some spendables in here. And I'm trying to switch at least one of my beacons to being emerald, partly because I've got a room full of guys and I just like the look of the emerald one better. But you can't win them all, you know? Okay, what I'm gonna do then, we'll start with cleaning out, as weird as it is, cleaning out the chicken, and I really should do this from the front rather than the back, but the back is what I built at the moment, so yeah. Oh, well, that's not gonna help much. Okay, that'll be a short-lived one. I don't remember whether or not I have shepherds, actually. That would be a smart thing to have. If we don't have them, I'm not going to worry about it. Let's sleep. It's slow. Well, okay, that's not too bad. That's not too bad. Then a flower forest will speed things up by a good margin. But yeah, multiple farms is annoying. Although, I mean, it depends on the style of farming you're doing. Like mine, I just defaulted to a flushing farm repeatedly. Let's just get this out of the way. And so the flushing farms were fairly doable fairly quickly. But yeah, they're still annoying to do over and over to some extent. One of those ones, if you don't enjoy incredibly repetitive tasks, it can be a bit of a challenge. For sure. And it also takes enough time that it's not easy if you're not the first one in the season. Okay, let's start by dumping this iron, and then I'll take the rest and use that to make emeralds. Probably easier. Now let's grab a couple spoons and get out of here. I figure out where. Where is the next part? I know where trim is. I know where I've got some content. Got an extra flower. Okay. And there slowly but surely with this. Sure, why not? That's still fine. Yeah, I can imagine on a flower farm you'd go through bone meal pretty fast, and once you've got your iron farm, it doesn't necessarily get you bone meal as fast as you might like. I think, I'm trying to remember what I used. I'm trying to remember whether I got more bone meal out of the bamboo back then, or if I got more out of kelp farm. I remember I had a kelp farm for a while, and then I got rid of it, just because my skills with the kelp farm back then were terrible. If I make them one layer thick and have to run things down the side, I usually do a pretty bad job. So, not ideal. You may see some weird flickering from time to time. I've been playing around with having a pack that does dynamic lighting and nothing but dynamic lighting. Usually it's built in as part of other packs for people, but I've just been playing with it as a single piece standalone for itself because that seems to get updated more quickly. And the resulting effect of that is that sometimes I roll over it in my hotbar and then things go a little wonky in the lighting. So I try to remember not to do that, but I don't always succeed. Actually, you know what? There's enough here. Let's throw these there and get one more. What? That was fast. There we go. Alright. We need a spoon, and if we don't have enough for a spoon, then we will go and find it. Sir, can you please trade me all you got? Oh, uh-oh. Oh, good. Okay, this isn't what I thought. I was a little worried for a moment there that one of my mods that I thought was non-functioning was suddenly functioning, but no. It's not. It's just that the guy renewed his trades fast enough. Okay. The odd thing about this actually is I've discovered that I actually need to sell off some of the iron from time to time. Sorry, I do need to sell off the iron somewhat from time to time because otherwise it backs up in the system. And even putting it in storage, I'm actually getting quite a lot of storage. Okay, this is getting weird. Pay attention to that and not me, please. Sticker. Distract the monkey. Alright. Any more? Nope, no more renewals from you at the moment. So, sir, you want to finish repairing my spoon? Perfect, got it. Okay, you do not have any more iron sales. You, sir, can you repair my axe, please? No. Sure, thank you. Do you want any? Oh, no, you don't want any of those. You do not want any of those. Alright, so, sir, because we just want the emeralds, can you please tell me what you got? Perfect. Alright, shoppy time. What? Oh, 2 songs about female empowerment. Yeah, that's a good one. What do we got? Unbreaking 2 spoon. Shovel, sorry. I guess you're my shovel guy. That makes life easy. Huh.
Welcome.
Yeah. Hey Grief, how are you doing today? Hopefully you had a decent day. Good. Yeah, nobody's going to bonk anybody's spoons, so they're still not trying to sell them there. So then, sir, I will take lots of spoons, please. No? Aw. Really? Only 2? 3? Breaking's not bad. Breaking isn't bad at all. We got for breaking 2. Ooh, I can get more spoons. Yay. I can get unbreaking 3 spoons. Good. Unbreaking 2 on that. Efficiency 2. That's not horrible. Oh, nope, that's it. Efficiency 2. Yeah. Unbreaking 2 and efficiency 2. Do I have a need for that? Grab 1 of each. I'll save that. So your spoons are not suddenly cheap, right? 15. Oh man, really? Dang it. Oh well. Oh well. No problem. Shoutouts. Mama Bear's right on the money today. Let's see. I really like the way that Osmond is adding a little bit of a human twist. Sometimes he pulls straight from what we've already said in our little mini bios, but I like that he's doing that because sometimes he'll actually catch something that I haven't. So, for example, and it wasn't that I had a typo per se, but that, but sometimes it's just the way the turn of phrase turns out, it's a little more human. Well, that's inconvenient. What do we need? Grab that one. 6. Okay, what do we need? Sure. Let's just go with 1 for now. But I did need some iron to take with me, so this is good. Okay, so I'm going to combine that one to a pair of spoons. Now we've got some that will take a little longer to break. We can get our job done. Don't think I need 7 changes to the thingamajigger, so let's put these blocks away. Grab what's left. Okay. I'm always running back and forth. But I've decided I don't really want to tear up the place to be able to put those things in the system automatically. I guess I shouldn't shunt them straight through that way. Okay, we've got some stuff. This one's going away. We're getting closer. Only got another 36 blocks to go. Not bad. Okay, that's the spendables to set things up. Need to put the tools away, or I'm going to forget them. This one. I always wonder what goes in these extra slots, and now that I have stuff in them, it doesn't make sense. Alright, how about let's leave that behind. I don't think I'm gonna need 2 of those. I need a lot of that. Okay, put this one up here, down there. Swap this one. This one. Because we're going to start out by putting our beacon out there. And that way I can leave my 2 good axes behind. I have to remember that this one neither has mending nor silk touch on it. Let's put that. Oh, whoops, hang on a sec. Oh. Alright. Yeah. Guess I have shears for lots of stuff. I can't remember why. Oh, because I was working on wool projects. That's why. I have these extra ones. It's for wool projects. Okay. Forgot to tell my computer not to talk to me during stream. Okay, there we go. Okay, where am I? Where am I is a good question. Where am I going is an even better one. Yeah, I really need to move this. This just looks odd each time I do it. But strangely enough, the chickens themselves are in the front side of this whole mess. So if I have everything happening at the back, I try to access from the front. That doesn't look weird at all, either. Okay, yeah. Let's go upstairs. And then we'll see. Oh, then we're going to see where we need to go. And how to get there. In 1 split second to look that up, and I'd be right with you. Alrighty, so first things first, I'm going to take off the references thing because we're done with that now. And then the second thing we're going to do is just fly, because I could actually bother to look for a sand mining location, or I could actually go for a trip. I've got some sand over there, but I mean, of course, that's mine and it's inside trim, so I'm not hugely a fan of getting rid of it. Let's see, what do we got? Janky map. Do I have janky map long enough that I know where things are? Okay. This is the trim reminder. It's like a heck of a lot of ocean. Ocean, 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 more ocean. The reminder is at 5,000. Okay, so we got 5,000, 5,000 more or less. Just north of the Badlands doesn't help me. Doesn't help me. But if it's on the rail and it's marked as something useful, then I can totally go out that way. It's probably smart. Either that or we'd end up going out here. Because there's... Where's this? This is... What is that? Smooth stone, blah, blah, blah. I don't remember whose stuff this is. Spawn, east... Ah! Out here. I've been there. Okay. I'm going to try and check the the rail. If not, we can fly out here ourselves, because this is not an old map piece. When it's fully surrounded by blank, it might have been, but we'll find out. I know I've been out there to get the terracotta, so this is part of this is my mess. So yeah, I'm fairly certain this is this year's, because previous seasons had like a village on this side with lots of sand on the left, so let's try that. It's a little faster, otherwise it's not a crime to go for a fly. Excuse me. Oh, right. Got myself turned around. I forgot I had this bit hanging off, and I was trying to think that this was actually this. And I couldn't figure out what the problem was yesterday when I was working on this setup. You're not seeing that. When I was working on this setup, I couldn't figure out where on earth the pigman noise was coming from. I had no clue. Well, apparently he's wandering all over because he managed to squish himself through this gap here. You know? The one that I can't get through. And so he was wandering around on the roof. Go figure. Me organized? Never. You can see we had a few pigmen, and I knocked a few into the nether with the arrows and such. Well, there's part of the gold. That's not what we need, but there's part of it. Alright. I'm gonna bet I've probably flown at least once. But, me, organized? Nah. We've got a full set of 9 shulkers. We shouldn't need that much, but depending what we're going to be doing with it. If I don't get a way of figuring out the whole gold situation, and we end up doing this all as an hourglass, then we're going to definitely need a huge amount of sand. But if we get to be able to do the pocket watch version, then we're going to be needing a huge amount of sand and or the what do you call it? The sandstone. That's what I'm looking for. So we may not actually have enough boxes. Oh. Can I get any more obvious? I would do the bang head here thing, but, you know, it just doesn't look right. Alright. Ooh. Ooh. Poodle? Just tried to fly over the dandelion. I know I just walked right past where I need to be. Let's take a couple of these while we're at it. Hello. Hello, come on. Come play. Come play. Nope, nothing this time. Oh well, that's fine. Oh, okay. For a second there, I thought this was another spicy. Like, I'm so used to not hearing my feet that this is weird. I don't have the feet turned off. It's just... Yeah, I'm gonna bet. Let's just press this again just for bits and giggles. Ah, it does go. I was amused by the very, haha, bang, head, here. Uh-huh. I think I did. Yeah, I had forgotten that this thing was able to be switched off. In previous seasons, it wasn't able to be switched off. You could like switch it to something else, but that there was like a timer when it just timed out. I've had to do that where I didn't switch it off, and then I go somewhere and it loops like that. Glenn's fault, you know. It always works. So, just for those of you that have been curious about the Oswin thing, when it talks through my account, unfortunately, I've discovered that it comes through the same account or same audio line as my redeems do. And when I try to change that, so that I don't hear Oswin, unfortunately, I don't hear anybody's redeem claims or personal sounds or any of that jazz either. So, I guess Oswin can have an otherworldly echo for the time being. I need to get out more. I hadn't seen that. Okay. Now I understand why Dadcraft does the ride the rails kind of deal. At least once. Yeah. Well, if I need to figure out how to do those, I know who to talk to. Because it's a really nice font. I like that. Clearly it's like stairs and slabs and such, but still. It's very nicely rounded on the letters that need it. You know, I've wondered what Etho would think of these portals, because technically they're complete, but we're just using the non-essential corners as markers. I don't know. Wonder what they would think of that. Maybe that should be Zip's business next season. Maybe that should be Zip's business next season. Would be to have a. Why can't I think of the word today? Like a labeling system. There you go. So if you want your name to be above your portal in that sort of way, then you just pay him to do so. That would be kind of an interesting business. At least one that I haven't seen before. You've got people who come and glow up things for you, and we'll build you a tree, which is awesome, which I have to remember to do. I have to hire a tree person for this. Okay, let's get up and find a good spot. Might as well just start here. Let's take a look at the map and see. Huh. That looks like a temple and a lot of really flat space. The really flat space is appealing because there's a lot of that. So let's head over that way. Ooh. That's a bit of a rocket delay. Somebody's definitely been mining over here because it's super flat. Alright. We don't need that, but it's nice to know it's here. Ah. Okay. More than one person knows about this. Interesting. That's not where we came from. I think. Now I don't know if that's where I came from or not. No. It's a second portal. Amazing. Okay. 4 video games in which a vampire is an enemy. Wow. Alright. Yeah, this is big and flat, so... 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 5. Nope. 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 4, 5. Okay. I'm gonna go 5 blocks deep by 9. That'll work. Right smack in the middle of this? Yeah, sure, because I can. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 5. This one. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. I figure rather than putting the beacon down and digging under it, one of the problems I have is I forgot once again to bring lanterns. You know, that would have been sensible. And instead, I'm just going to dig out the space for the beacon and then put it in there. Because then I can start on the digging. And the other advantage is that I don't know if there is one. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4, yeah, that should work better. I have to be careful because I'm going to get stuck in a hole at night, which is, you know, less than ideal. But I also don't want to put my bed down quite yet because I'd rather put it on the beacon. There's layer 1, that's the 9. It's 7. And I'm getting delays in the sound, so too annoying, let me know. But it is unhelpful with creepers. I found yesterday, it didn't blow me up, so there was nothing super exciting other than to tell the story. But I, apparently, in the room that used to have Carrot Farm, it's on the main floor of the mansion, and I cleaned it out, intending to use it for something, and I never got round to whatever it was. It was the, beacon, or not beacon, sorry, the, smelting room, I think. Oh, great. But anyways, that spot has, had one lonely spawnable square in the middle of the room. And I found out the hard way because I was standing in the hallway and heard this horrible boom and actually got shoved forward a block. I was trying to figure out what on earth, like, how did I let a creeper in the building? And that was the only block in the entire stinking building, or for 2 chunks outside the building, that was unlit. Yeah. It blew a hole in the floor and, you know, thankfully didn't destroy anything, so it, like, well, I shouldn't say anything, but it blew a hole in the floor and it ripped up some carpet. Was it. So I was counting my stars. So lucky. I mean, there's a few other spots on that floor that could have been safe places for it to blow up, but I was really lucky that it didn't hurt the outlays, didn't, you know, destroy any of the pens, didn't mess with the iron farm. So that was a really big score, but it was just kind of annoying. But at the same time, definitely a wake-up call. So let's see. 9, 5, 7, so 9, 7, 5. I need 2 more. Now, because I'm intending to try and do the watch, the work, it has just occurred to me. Wait a sec. Okay. Oops. No. Not this. Shoot, I don't have anything. Okay. Why can't I? Anyway. I was thinking about the watch. If you know, gold is very traditional, and that's my preference. But if things go sideways, I could still do that. And if we collected enough, I could do red sandstone. It'd be a very different look, but it's not necessarily horrible. Because I mean, hey, movies, you can take license and do just about whatever you want. Yeah, definitely. Ba-boom. So we had 9, 7, 5, 3, 1. So we need one more. I thought if doing a gold watch, I would actually probably do two tones. So we'd have the sandstone face, just because it's fairly light, or possibly a quartz face. But still need the glass. So, you know, I'd find sandstone uses elsewhere at some point. But I thought I would do a sandstone dial, and then we'd end up using banners on top for the numbers. Just because the scale, as we saw with Zip Twist's beautiful writing, if I was to do it out of blocks rather than... if I was to do it out of blocks rather than... think today. Yeah. Rather than banners, there we go. That's what I'm trying to think of. Then we would end up having an awful lot of space. Like it would be far, far larger than absolutely necessary. That's what I'm trying to say. English. English is a thing. Okay. It's down. Ow. Blaze on falling. Woohoo. Got toolbox. You guys know where I store my beacons. There's a lovely little empty spot for it. Right there. Oh, man. Okay, well... Yes, we got a good... Uh-oh. Okay. Yes, we got a good start, but this is not going to go well without it. So, yeah. I guess I need to make a return. Delenn. Really? Like, got a hole. Just for fun. 1, 2, 3. Oops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep, this one. Okay. So I'm gonna stand right here. This add a. Oops. Not a Y. Yeah. New. Hehe. Send beacon. Future center. Oh, this being silly because I can. So what color do they take? They think white, right? More or less. Okay, go this way. Oops, missed one. Come on, give me something bright. That'll do. That'll do. It's just a joke, anyways. Huzzah! All right. Now, if I want to fly back there for speed reasons, I'll explore this one later. No idea where that comes out, because it's probably not on the rail. Nice little hole. There's a hole in the desert, dear Liza, dear Liza. Okay, do I have... Let's just add one here because... Mining... Desert... Slash... I don't know, let's do it the other way. Sand slash terracotta. Any color other than purple, that doesn't make sense. Something sandy or terracotta-ish. Come on, orange or brown, please. can do random colors. That'll work. It's not oh, lordy. Well, it'll do. Okay. Now, where is... I think it's that way? Yes. A little faster than riding the rails. Well, yeah, it would be huge if we... It would be huge vertically, the watch or the hourglass. Either way, it would be huge vertically. Because we can't do it on the ground. Oh, haha. 2 characters from Ratatouille. Okay, I can definitely answer that one, but I'm going to leave that one alone. There, let's go get the box we need. This one. Come with me. While we're here, I'm not going to do a ton of while we're here stuff, but let's just put... Well, those 2 can go in the box. Okay, we're good. We're good. Let's start... do I have a sandbox? A sandbox, great. This is meant as a project box, so we're good enough. Alright, let's try this again. 8 minutes of audio. You're not gonna catch much. Okay, this way. Alright. Where's the new one? Is it? Yes. Not too bad, it's only 700 blocks in the nether. So, we have Bobby, but we haven't been out here before. Just not in a long time. So Bobby is not so helpful at the moment. Okay, let's go find the hole. See whether or not I actually got the sand beacon feature center in feature center. Kind of nice that somebody found one mining desert locale that is this sort of plentiful. We've got all the bits and pieces. I mean, it's nice to have a lush cave down below for those that want it. It's nice to have a desert temple nearby. That's kind of handy. You know, you could do all sorts of things. Okay. Put this down. Oh, well, I guess that can go in here. It was not what I meant, but alright, it'll do. Oh, ha ha ha. Well, we better not need extras, or I'll have to dig into the first aid kit. We'll see what my mood is at the end, whether I'm going to take it with me or leave it. We'll see how sandy this part of the desert ends up being, because at the moment it looks like it might be sandstone-ish, which isn't exactly a bad thing, but for our purposes not exactly useful either. Stop shopping. Yeah, exactly. It's definitely a one-stop shop for a lot of useful things. And I do not know whether or not it's Zerp friendly in terms of having spore blossoms down below. And that's an adventure for another day. Well, or curiosity for another day. The sound is sounding a little janky, aside from the audio delay I'm getting. Hopefully we'll be able to get this done. We're only mining sand. It's not like it's a world-exciting adventure. Most dangerous thing we're liable to run into is probably a creeper. This one. Spend something on it. What do we want? I'm assuming sand mining is what we're looking for today, although there are days that I could probably use as other things, just because I'm not aware. Okay, put that up there. Pick up this box. Let's put a bed down. Which side? East might be the most useful, I guess. Out that way. This way. There. And then let's put that one up there for... better not put that one up there. Because if I put that up there, and then we have a creeper problem, I have all kinds of owies. Try that. I think it should do. Alt. Let's clear that one. Got enough space. Oh, yeah. Okay. Let's see. What do we got? The bed's safe. That's the key. All right. Well, why not be lazy about the whole thing to start? And what do we got? Down here. Middle and to the left. Middle and to the left. Level? Okay. Ah. I mean, that part I could probably do with torches. Like, that would be sensible. Ads will be starting. Ooh. Okay, let me shush. Uh-oh. Sorry. I forgot I've got frame per second reducer on. That's not going to make much sense to most people. And things start going janky just before the ads because I temporarily tabbed out of the screen. Uh-oh. Back to bed. I love watching the transactions that happen between other players on the server. It's just one of those things that makes the place feel alive, even when I'm not involved. It's not voyeuristic in intentions. It's just I love that there's other life on here. I mean, even when you have artificial intelligence putting life on the server, you know, like in some video games will have that sort of thing, and you could see the same sort of chatter from AIs or NPCs. When it comes to those sorts of things, eventually it feels like you're going to loop, and it's all the same. So you end up getting a conversation you've heard before, and then it loses all the appearance of reality. And that's part of the problem I find with some of the space games that I hear about on YouTube when Fantastic Sherlock Fox and I are watching, is just that there's a lot of NPC chatter and stuff, and it makes it feel good to start with, and then you play the game long enough, and they start coming back.
Ads are starting. Dylan will continue the conversation after the ads are over. Thank you for supporting the stream.
1, 2, 3, 4. Oh yeah. Hey. I don't even have a clue if Osmond actually said anything there, because I did my best to mute him. I didn't hear it. It's kind of dumb and inefficient for me to start out doing a shape like this, but it feels good. And that's, sometimes you just need to do a feel-good thing. He was yelling! Uh-oh, whoops. Okay, I need to turn him down then. Turn down the whole of the claims channel, because otherwise that would be super loud for everybody. Okay. It's capped out at the same thing I am, so maybe it could be just that sometimes I talk over him. I'm not entirely sure. But I've also discovered part of the problem with hearing it is that get a weird looping effect because the claims channel is told to duck the microphone, which is all well and good, except the microphone, or if the claims channel is being fed, is what's feeding the microphone, then it goes round in circles in a way. So things start getting quieter over the course of his little announcement because microphone picks it up and tells the thing to duck it. It's just kind of a stupid system. So I've got a ticket into people that made the bot just to see if I can force stuff to come out through another cable. So what happens right now is there's an instruction that says when an ad starts, like when that trigger happens, that it's supposed to then have Osmond tell us about it. And normally Osmond's conversation and where the information about what voice Osmond's using comes from is actually a different app that has its own setting for the output. So I'm asking, why can't the system of the speaker bot that's actually, streamer bot that's actually having Osmond, like, telling him to say something in the first place, why can't it just shove it out through the audio in that other app? Why does it have to drag it back to the audio from the main app? And if I'm missing something, what is it I'm missing in the configuration? But it's been 3 days with no response on the ticket. It's open, so it's not like we've had somebody go through and close it, but it's just kind of frustrating because here we are, still continuing to stream, and still continuing to see the same behavior. So, yeah. So if the mods were doing like a TTS instruction to tell Osmond to say something specific, that would actually come out on a different feed. And I don't think that feed's muted right now. I don't see it in here, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's not here. Oh, it's muted right now, okay. There we go. But I mean, even so, like, that comes out on a different line. So those sorts of things have a different volume level. It seems a little nonsensical. Like, I don't know why they would have done that in the first place, other than potentially expediency in the code. Still have to query the other app for the voice information in the first place, so I don't know. And one of my buddies will probably help me figure it out. The makers. If not, I will message my fine friend Terror Darts directly and be like, hey, I got this weird little problem, and since you now code for them, can you please tell me what's going on and why they're doing it the way they're doing it? Because I'm sure he probably would be willing to help out a little bit. I do like watching Terror Dart streams, I just don't as much as I used to, because sometimes when you only have a certain number of hours in the day, putting on people coding in the background and talking idly about their code, while it's useful as a co-work kind of thing, it's not necessarily helpful to where I'm going in my head for the day, so it's a little more distracting than functional. I don't even watch a lot of other streams. Like, I watch Minecraft streams in the background. I don't usually watch LEGO streams. I even stopped watching Magic streams, actually. But just because the Minecraft ones, at least I'll get my head churning on ideas, thoughts, you know, things I could build or a technique to use or something like that. So I learned something from it. This up there, that up there is full enough. Let's go and get just sand. Whee! Okay, which direction do I want to go? That's actually not a bad placement. Let's go east for now, I guess. What is that? Okay, now I want to know what's out west. What is that red thing? Oh, it's somebody else's bed. Okay, let's just go see what's going on here. This one says... It actually has a sign on it. Ah, as if just a sand mining bed. You think? It might not stay that way, you know. I'm not going to be silly about the whole thing. I could actually put some sort of snarky remark on the foot of my bed, leave the beacon out, but that's sort of silly. And petty. So let's go east because then it rises up a little higher. What is the... Oh! So we're going to go to the max distance and then come back in towards the thing, but that's probably not super helpful. Let's just tear it out. Why not? Why not? World not being flat is getting me today. I'm gonna have to find something to do with these. Can you imagine what kind of chaos it would be if Minecraft actually, or Minecraft, sorry, Mojang and crew actually put in some sort of grinder so you could turn sandstone or other things into various different types of sand? That would be busy, but far too... Oh, shoot. 16, 15, okay. That keeps renewing itself, and we know we're too close. It'll do. So anyway, I'd like to be able to get Oswin to functionally do more. At the moment, he does not. And I have a different voice for now, set up for the family-friendly Cards Against Humanity game. It's got a delay on it just because it's not through the same setup. And so, in order for it to read things, it just comes out a little bit pokier. We'll have the same issue with the echoes that we do with Oswin, just because, not quite the same, but pretty similar, just because the mic will still pick it up. Text-to-speech does that. That's the other thing I want to ask Terror Darts about, is not only can I get it to go through a different feed in the first place, but is it possible to have it figure out how to mute the global microphone input so that I can actually get it to potentially mute me when some of the bots are talking? At the moment, it would only be because of Oswin's, advert notices. I don't want it to do it when there's things like the Cards Against Humanity. It will probably get me to notice and shut up, but I don't stop talking instantly, so kind of nice not to get hushed by my own bot. That's why I didn't want to go super far. Brains. She ain't got them today. All right. What was I doing? Okay, one more night. I think 50, I think, is about the max. What do we have? 10, 9. Sorry, watching the 2, 5. Okay, obviously, it didn't look right. Okay, so we're beyond the trim, which I'm going to bet. Not trim, sorry. Max distance. Say it's about 50 in either direction. I don't buy that. Come on, mining thing. Aha. So you're about... Yeah, okay, about 50 from the beacon itself. So I'm going to go 49-ish. 48? 49. I'm just going to see what happens. It's also taxi math, as I understand it, which means that we've got a diamond shape going on. Ah, oops. Yeah, I'm gonna end up in the... Well, that's not great. Okay, so we got a 50 from the center. What's this? 11. Yeah, that's not ideal. 28, 9, 30, 31, 2. Whoops. Okay, well... Sun makes boo-boos, apparently. Got 50. We're up by 2, so I have to go down this one, more or less. So yeah, I can go right through the... Well, that's not smart. Let's not. Let's just not. Okay, well, I know that that's a thing. Close enough. I'm just gonna make a big slot because I can. And leave that weird little scar there. The question of the day. Hard one. If I could go back in time and give myself guidance, I would tell myself to take things a little less seriously when I was younger, but to be more selective in taking certain important things more seriously. I'd be curious what some of that information is. If I could give my old self, the younger self, any advice, when it comes to employers, if something seems a bit off, assume that it is. Doesn't mean it's gonna help a whole lot, but yeah. Okay, so I've got a lot of jankiness going on with those guys. I bet you that's from underground cave near that temple, which I'll probably find at some point. Yay! So in any case, yeah, I had an employer once who, I think we mentioned this in stream, but it's been a while, who hired and apparently fired, not just based on your performance. No, that would be sensible. But no, she hired and fired based on your horoscope. And it wasn't just your zodiac sign, no. It was like one of those complicated, 9-point font, 8.5 by 11, 2-page spreads with like 2-inch pictures. And so, yeah. So I had the entirety of my probation, which in this case was 3 months instead of 6. For ADHD reasons, there were certain things that I was not comfortable with and good at, and I told her as much. Right at the beginning, just saying, hey, I'm not great at, being on the phone. I mean, like as in making calls outwards. Receiving is one thing, but calls outwards, not so much. Then I said, if you give me a task that's going to take a while, it's one of those things that I find hard to focus on. What I mean by take a while is like, multiple days. But she decided that, her horoscope book was more accurate. And I don't know what else she used, but she figured that giving me a multi-week project to cold call other companies and try and ask who their CEO, CFO, and see something else, some other C-level, only the top three, who they were. If I couldn't find them posted on the internet, which most companies do, but it's not on your average Joe page. Anyway, but this thing was actually set to take. She figured it would take a month or so. So as you can imagine, that did not go well. And here's the funny part. At the time, I was working for a marketing department. But I was hired in, if I remember correctly, I was hired in as event staff. So as in to help design and run events that the marketing department was putting on for clients. The company was a law firm. So I did that. I was not bad at it. You know, setting up for things, helping coordinate the caterers and that sort of jazz. Coordinate as in like somebody else already booked them, and she was more senior to me, and so basically I was her help, supposedly sidekick help or something. Anyway, that didn't go well. So, I was pretty broken up about that one because it was a half decently paying job, but I knew that it actually wasn't the right type of job for me. Can't remember what I did right after that, but it was a weird one. So that's one of the pieces of advice I'd give my previous self is, if the hiring seems bizarre. Oh, and while I was there, the entire team was on group interviews for other staff for the team. Not just the people they were going to be working with, but like the entire team. And one of the people we hired them because they brought cookies. I kid you not. I mean, they had some useful skills too, but it wasn't even really down to them or someone else. It was just, this person looks interesting. Their horoscope seems to fit. Let's give them a second interview. And in the second interview, in the first interview, I guess the boss had at some point just thrown an offhand joke comment about cookies. So the person did, in the second interview, brought a massive plate of chocolate chip cookies. I still don't know how that's completely useful, but that was the person we hired. Yeah. Oh, the other one, I would say, give myself future advice. If you've already been told you're going to be terminated, and then you get asked to train your replacement, then obviously you should not have been fired in the first place. So, run very far away. And it does not matter if your mother knows the boss. That was not what got me in there in the first place. But yeah. So in other words, if things seem a little jank, they probably are, and even though you may think it's you, it's not all you. So yeah. No, exactly. So basically, it was a law firm's service SLP department, or SLP branch, I guess. Because of course there's the LLP, which is the lawyer's side, and then there's the SLP, which is the service company that works for the law firm, and that that's where they through the client events and so on, and yeah, that was a weird one. Through the entirety of that particular job, my mother was a law librarian, so her buddy was the one that actually told me this position was, or told her that this position was available, which is why I applied for it. And so through the entirety of that 3 months, like basically from the moment I got hired, her friend was trying to find a way to get an approval for an assistant in the library to do minor paperwork, page type duties, because she said that, yeah, even though she mentioned that this position existed, she knew the boss was a flake. Apparently everybody in the firm knew the boss was a flake, even though she got the job done in the marketing department. So this other person was trying to find another, approval for another position and just could never get it, which is too bad. I mean, I'm kind of glad, only because it wasn't too long after that we actually lost the friend due to health issues. So, that's disappointing, But that said, I learned a thing or two. But yeah, if you ever get asked to train your replacement, then you probably should not have been let go in the first place. I didn't understand that at the time. I assumed it was something to do with me. It wasn't even, like, the thing that got me about that training one, the thing that got me about the training one, like where I got asked to train, is that they didn't even say, hey, you're a half-decent trainer, we're going to get you to train this next staff person. Like, no compliment. It's just yep, we're not going to be renewing your contract, but by the way, because you still have 3 weeks left, can you train your replacement? And the person was nice enough. They actually had said that, like, that they liked me, and that if they had the opportunity to work with me as opposed to, you know, having me leave, they would have liked that. But, oh well. You know, for a while I took a bunch of entry-level office positions that, most of them didn't last. Well, they all didn't last, and at the time I thought it was me. You know? Like, yes, technically it is, but not in the way I thought it was at the time. Some entry-level office stuff, if you're doing a variety of jobs, and even if you're doing them repeatedly, I can handle it. But we had some people, like one of my jobs was filing, and we mentioned this before, that I had to file electrical project paperwork, which is fine, but we had a couple of people who were incredibly OCD and fussy about how things should be filed, and yet they would never do it themselves. So you just about guarantee they were going to be cranky about it every time you did it, or you didn't. You know, it was not one of those ones that was easy to do. But also that somebody in their infinite wisdom thought the filing gal should be the same gal who also answered the phones at the front desk. That's great, except when your filing room is not within earsight or eyesight of the phone in a realistic sense. I mean, technically it was like around the corner. But we didn't have any pages or anything like that. Pagers, I mean. That's it. They said they couldn't find it when I filed it. And yet, they were the ones who designed the filing system they wanted it sorted by. Sometimes I think people just wanted to argue. The weird, creepy part, actually, and I tend to have odd occurrences happening through life. It just seems to come back. 1, 2, 3, 4. Because I don't need to match it up. But what I mean by that is I tend to have odd occurrences happening in terms of bumping into people that are connected to other parts. So this one that had the strange electrical filing stuff, turned out one of the multiple people in the office that I was doing filing for and technically worked for, just the way, you know, when you think about one receptionist sort of works for everybody. But one of them happened to be the father of, I guess you'd say, one of my enemies in high school. And he was pretty nice and couldn't figure out why I didn't like his daughter. And tried to tell me she'd changed. And a couple times she'd come to meet him at work for lunch or something. And we'd try to talk, but I mean, it was one of those things like where you've got, picturing yourself stuck in an office Christmas party sort of thing. People, in that case, people you don't know and having the awkward, strained conversations. Yeah, it was like that, even though I knew the gal. And I could never fathom how he could be so thick to not understand that. But, hey, that was the case, so I sort of regret that one, but not really. They fairly quickly figured out I had a technical mind, so I became the backup for the IT guy in terms of being able to take home the little, or not take home, well, yeah, I guess, the little tapes that you have, you know, we had DAT tapes that you had to take home for backing up the office. And I became the backup person for that. But also, when people had issues, basic level issues with their computers, that I was always troubleshooting that. So, understandably, one of the other jobs I took afterwards was one where I was tech support. It didn't take long for me to figure that was the best thing. I don't like scripts, because sometimes things don't go according to script. So even though you had to start at the bottom, I was lucky enough to find a company that was a small internet service provider, such that they didn't bother with the script, so they sort of let you do the whole kit and caboodle if you could actually solve the problem from end to end. And we were allowed callbacks, which was kind of a nice thing, because a lot of the other script running companies in our area do not allow callbacks. Not from the bottom level staff anyways. And so the resulting effect of that was that you could actually have a rapport with certain customers. But yeah. Oh, exactly. Best. You're totally with it, Creep. Best captains are always on shore. I mean, it's also one of those not Murphy's Law things. When you're not looking for something, it's going to be popping up whenever when you don't need it. But every time you look for something, it's not going to be there, and that's just the way the filing works as well. Is you'll never be able to find that piece of paper that's filed away properly when you're not looking for it. Sorry, pardon me, when you are looking for it. When you're not looking for it, it's easy. And sometimes you'll tell yourself, oh, hey, I'll remember where that is, and we'll come back for it next time. And then when next time actually arrives, you can't find it. And sometimes people just have attitudes where they've got to take it out on someone and blame the other person. Like, well, why did you file it? Because you put it in the file that was supposed to be filed? Oh, that's okay. I will admit, as much as I malign certain jobs I've had, I've had some interesting ones, at least interesting to me. I mean, for office parties. Like, for example, we talked about how I live in Calgary that has Calgary Stampede, and of course, as one can imagine, it's a good excuse for a corporate drunk fest. So, I had bosses that I would do the paperwork and whatever for them, or bosses, I guess, people from this company that the managers and whatever would say, yeah, why don't you take her with you when you go to that supplier lunch, the Stampede luncheon. We'd take her with you, or Stampede breakfast. And sometimes, occasionally, we'd actually shut down the whole office. And it's like, gone to client lunch, or gone to, whatever. And almost all the major staff would go, except the ones who didn't want to go to these things anymore because they knew what was up. And staff or the bosses and stuff never got dangerously tippy, but sometimes we'd be gone like 3 or 4 hours to one of these things, and then I'd have to come back and finish the workday, which wasn't necessarily a bad thing, but it was kind of interesting because you could tell that they were safe to drive at the time that they had chosen to drive back to the office, but they also knew themselves well enough that they would take the rest of the afternoon off fairly shortly thereafter. Some paperwork and stuff would come through, but yeah, they'd take the afternoon off. And that was just because, of course, the longer the day went on, the more that what they had consumed at the luncheon or breakfast would hit them. But it was a treat to be allowed to go to those things, because a lot of companies won't. So, yeah. And the one that I got spoiled by is a tech support company. That one would actually shut down the office on the morning of, I can't remember if it's the morning of Stampede Parade Day, when most of the downtown core was shut down anyways. You couldn't get to a lot of the offices. So a lot of our clients just weren't at work. We'd have our office Stampede party, and we'd have mimosas. And for those of you who haven't had them, basically it's champagne and orange juice mixes. And that was perfectly fine. With Stampede breakfast at the office. They just said, you know, don't give yourself a headache. Definitely don't ever get, you know, tippy or sick. But if you had one or two, that's fine. Yep, just as long as you're still able to do your job afterwards, that's cool. And nobody was allowed to go, like, drive themselves home if they've had too many. It was always a cab or something. But our Christmas parties, for fairly good reasons, Fantastic Sherlock Fox can vouch. The ISP that I worked for had little tiny, like, there was, what were we? Not even, I'm trying to remember how many it was for the entire party. Like, we were maybe 40, I guess? No, more than that. A stupidly small number anyways. But the bill, thank heavens, the owners were willing to pay it. The bill for dinner and the bar at a little hotel that we would go to, or wherever we were that year, would rather regularly, from what I'm told, outstrip the uses or the amount of booze consumed by a small triple-digit wedding party. So, yeah. It's kind of funny. Oops. Well. So anyways, you know, like, I've had good jobs and bad jobs, but I guess part of it was the younger me probably could have known, been told, that some of the things that I kept getting in trouble for weren't always my fault. Sometimes people were just fruitcakes and flakes. And some companies really are just granolas, full of, like, former hippies that, yeah, that are, what do I use the phrase? Granolas, I guess, is probably the best way of putting it. As in, thems that ain't fruits or nuts is flakes. It depends, I mean, it depends on the type of job you've got. So if the job is solving people's email issues, and sometimes it just comes down to, seriously, did you turn it off and on again? That kind of thing. We also did residential internet, so it wasn't just companies, meaning that sometimes it was nice to have had a little bit of an alcoholic orange juice buzz in the morning, so that you didn't have to deal with the please double click on your screen, and you're actually hearing click, 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 and I'm thinking, oh, that's an awfully loud mouse. And then she says, what? And then you hear his voice on the other end. This is, you know, something like, hey, well, how many times do I do this? I mean, aren't I going to scratch my screen? You what? Apparently, this person was of advanced years with zero experience with their computer. Apparently, you know, it's one of those ones where, like, your son or your grandson usually sets you up kind of deal. And they had actually taken their mouse and when this person wasn't around, their notion of double clicking was effective because when they smacked it into their screen, or like pressed it into their screen, they just by side effect happened to press the correct button to make it click. So they got the effect they were needing, but no idea why they did it. Yeah, I mean, all the people I'm talking to here are not that sort. So, but I mean, you can understand why sometimes it wasn't necessarily appropriate, but it wasn't necessarily overly harmful to, as they say, tie one on. And then the other times, there's once or twice that I was very glad I'd had one or two, because, like, I drove myself. Sometimes I took transit, but most of the time I drove myself to work. And there were times that I was glad I'd had a drink in the morning, because there were a few individuals that didn't believe in the man, apparently, as they put it. You know, didn't want the larger companies, basically. And liked the small one because of the individualized personal service for their internet needs. However, they were incredibly, what's the word? Chauvinist? Which is mildly funny, because I had no problem getting mistaken for the secretary initially. I'm okay with that, you know, or the receptionist, because I've done those jobs. And it actually is mildly funny the odd time that, you know, the receptionist was your tech person. But once I got it through that, oh, well, you know, this is the tech department. You've gotten to a tech. How can I help you? And they would say, pass me to a tech. And I'd say, I am a tech. How can I help you? Pass me to a tech. It's like, and then you go around in circles on that one. Is if you must know, this is my issue. Now that you know what it is, you can pass it on to a tech and then pass the call over. It's like, oh. Even without, like, we don't normally drink, right? The office didn't have, it wasn't one of those ones where Friday afternoon they had a case of beer or something. No. This is just one, they'd have, you know, colas and drink and coffee and, you know, juice, tea, that kind of jazz. Nothing unexpected. But, my weirdest morning, I think, / favorite, I guess, annoying at the time, was oddly enough, we had to work weekends at that point. And so I was doing a Saturday morning shift. I don't think they were open Sundays, but they definitely were Saturday mornings. And there was 2 that would staff the office because we were small enough. They only needed 2 call center on Saturday, no other staff. And the other person on staff with me was the only other gal on the team. Amazing person, you know, quick as a whip. And frankly put, more of a looker than I was. Bit of a blander face, but like think of a dancer or swimmer type of body, fairly live. And anyways, long story made short on this one, this gentleman phoned in. One particular gentleman phoned in who did not like gals, and we had a back and forth with them for a while, and then he said, well, pass me to your supervisor. And I explained there was no one else here on the weekend. I was the most senior they were going to get. The other gal was only, I can't remember, I think it was a year less senior or less experienced than I was in the company. And we could totally handle stuff up to what in some of the scripted companies would be like tier 2 and tier 3. We didn't necessarily have the server permissions for it, but in terms of like what would be on the script to ask the questions, we totally were doing that all the time. Anyway, so we got to the point where we started playing round robin with them, just passing back, or not round robin, more hot potato, passing the guy back and forth. And I think each of us must have had him on our line about 4 or 5 times, wanting to talk to the more senior person, to pass back to me, want to talk to the more senior person, pass them to her. And they eventually said, are there any guys that work at this company? And we said, yes, they do not happen to be on shift today. And then the person eventually, would hang up in disgust, call back on Monday, insist on speaking to one of the owners. But because we'd had this round about 4 or 5 times before, during the week, of the 4 owners, the one that would take the call was the one woman. And so, of course, we'd all have a good chuckle over that one, because she'd usually give him a what for being belligerent and threatened to cancel his account and so on and so forth. And it was really kind of amusing to me. Yeah. The other one I thought was quite funny at the time was, apparently girls did not know how to use Apple products. That's the other one I thought was amusing, because at the time I was actually the only Apple technician on staff. So things would eventually come to me anyways, and the person would refuse to deal with me. So, well, you're lost, buddy. I stayed with that company until I chose to have kids, and they were a little disappointed / miffed when I didn't go back, because I really liked it there and I really wanted to go back. But once you have kids, sometimes you fall in love with the kid, and then you do the math and realize, okay, by the time you add childcare, this is getting kind of pricey. So that's part of how this whole staying home thing for me started, was just that I had a blast at the company, but not only did I not really want to leave my kid, I also wanted to, your priorities do change. The other reason we did that is because we did the math and we went, okay, in Canadian dollars, which of course is not great compared to American, but it's also, spending power where you are. After childcare expenses were taken off of the gross of my paycheck, not the net, but the gross of my paycheck, that I'd only be bringing in about $300 a month. And we looked at it as a family, well, as a couple, I guess. We weren't told family then. But we looked at it as a couple and went, this is dumb. Why? Like, why would we do this? So, given the amount of stress and everything else, it just was not going to be a viable situation to have all that going on. And we just said, no, for now, until things change, we will try and make it work, because we didn't have to worry as much about like a disposable income at that point was being not teenagers, we were older than that, but being gamers. So we had to have good computers and decent internet, and like there's a few other things along the sides that come up, and we were able to look at it and go, okay, well, we can probably over time find enough little tightenings here and there and not do some of the things we've been doing, and thereby not have to deal with a lot of this. Where did there we go? So we didn't. I'm just like, not like I was going to go out to, wasn't going to go out to movies. I didn't have a whole lot of time for buying, more video games. There were a lot of things where we had kid expenses, but those wouldn't stop happening if I went back to work. They would just keep happening anyways. But a lot of the disposable income style things, it wasn't just me, but between the two of us, we could make that work. And it's like, yeah, okay, let's just not. It's not. But I miss it a little bit sometimes. No problem. Hopefully it'll be good at interesting English reading, so that when he's reading you don't have a whole ton of boringness to listen to. But, yeah, so anyways, that was my side thing is if the me now could talk to the me then, I don't think it would have changed much. I think it just would have changed situational things. The knowing what I know now thing. I mean, I would have loved to know earlier on about ADHD, so at least I had some whys. But I really do think, based on the way things I read are going, I don't think there would have been much, at least in Canada, in terms of differences for being able to actually get me additional sort of supports. And in some cases, if I'd been open about that right from the start, there are certain jobs I did have for a while that would not have taken me at all. So, yeah. But it was just odd that in, I think, 3 different positions I had, I became a trainer. And yet, by not having the certification to train in any field whatsoever, I couldn't apply for jobs that did that. You just have to have the knowledge and ability to do the job. But yeah, so 3 different ones I was a trainer, not always training in my replacement. Actually, weirdly enough, it accidentally turned out that way in a second case, but not on purpose. It just so happened the person they put into the slot after I left was trained by me. Thinking back on it not that long ago, that most things quit me as opposed to me quitting them, and jobs-wise and stuff. But I think there were 3 that I quit. One was to go back to school, so that made life a little easier. And they were kind of a little annoyed when I chose a different job, which was more in my field of education for the next summer. But that's okay, that's what happens with fast food, that you just avoid it. But then, let's see what else. I think the second one, yeah. So one of them I quit to have kids, not in order, that's the third one. And then the second one, I quit of my own volition just because it was just a weird job that had bizarre hours. And I don't think that whether I had ADHD or not, certain elements would have changed. because just the company was picky. And I was shift supervisor, and there's different things, you know, you just can't go home till everybody else goes home, so if things take long, you're stuck there long. And they were picky about the tills, so when I had to count up at the end of the evening, if things were out by a little bit, I had to recount everything by hand, sometimes twice, to try and figure out where things went. It was just kind of dumb, so I just said, forget this. Yeah, now we're here, and it's thankfully not a job, because I could definitely tell you, if I had to punch a clock, this wouldn't work. But anyway, yeah, younger self and all that. Okay, let's see. I'm debating, we're starting to get enough repeats rolling on the question of the day that I'm going to have to start looking for augmentation to that list. I know we only roll one per session, but I don't know how long that's been up. And what I mean by that is, I don't know how long I've had question of the day that auto comes up. It's probably been at least a year, if not more, which suggests then that I may actually have run through most of them. I don't know. It's a random poll, so it's possible that I may not have run through everything and it's just pulling the same ones over and over. Oswin? That doesn't make any sense. Well, yes. Shift supervisor in retail was not my thing. It was one thing to supervise other people, and I could definitely make a whole day out of that. But when you had the actual store manager in the store, then the shift supervisor was expected to go down and do retail, and because of that, they actually put you up against the same sorts of metrics numbers as people who are doing retail all day long. But retail all day long is definitely not my forte. Once again, it's like cold calling people, approaching people and asking how you can help them and then trying to upsell was just not something I felt good about. I really hated that part, so yeah. Well, I mean, there's meticulous, and then there's unreasonable self-created fears of reprisal just because of the odd time that something did go wrong. I would assume that there's always that chance, even if I found it after the fact that the original reason had mitigating circumstances. Anyway, so there's a lot of types of jobs that are just not great for me. I think one of the ones I enjoyed most actually was a temp job, and it wasn't just because I knew it wasn't forever, but I enjoyed it as a temp job partly because there were a lot of other temps around me doing the same thing. But I actually used to work for one of the national banks in a cash counting office. So quite literally, companies like McDonald's or whatever would have their armored truck deliveries of their cash pickups from their locations come through where we were, and our job was to open up the things and count it and make sure that it matched what they were reporting. And so that was one I actually quite enjoyed because you'd have different things all day long. I mean, sometimes it was repetitive, same task, but it was it'd take you 15 minutes max to, sometimes less, to run all the stuff through a machine and count the loose pieces and band it up and sign off. That was it. That was all your job was in a lot of cases, and it was just easy. I shouldn't say easy, but it was a bit of a rinse and repeat, but then it's always a new bag. How much did this store make this day? Hey, and then have random idle conversation about things like, I wonder what sells best at this particular location. Or I wonder how this Forzani's did on such and such major holiday. Forzani's store being a sports equipment store. Apologies. So I really enjoyed that type of job, but it didn't last simply because, from what I understand, there was a change in the way that depositing worked with that bank. such that they didn't actually need the counting staff to that degree anymore. They could do it a lot of in-house at a nearby branch to the locations of the customer. So that was a bit of a pain. I mean, it was also the world where far more was starting to be done electronically, and so fewer and fewer checks would come through. And it's funny because almost everything I do doesn't use checks. Every once in a while, I'll find something that does, and I'll have forgotten to bring the checkbook with me. And that can bite me a pretty good one sometimes. Also, I find it amusing when some of the companies, particularly American companies, like Apple and so on, are touting, hey, our devices, now support tap or whatever, so you can go entirely plasticless or paperless. You don't have to have your card with you. Yeah. That's not international, especially not in Canada. While we may have devices that let you pay your restaurant tab at the table, apparently that's not a thing in the US, at least not in some areas. I don't know if it's everywhere. We call them debit machines, but really they're not. But long story short, they have like cordless machines that you don't actually have to go to the till with the staffer, either take your bill up or have the go up with the staffer, they put it in or whatever. We don't have that up here. The staffer will come to your table with this little wireless device, and it's like a pin pad, same way you use the grocery counter. And I like those sorts of things. A lot of those will tap off your phone. So like Apple Pay or something, if you tied your credit card to it, you can just do that. But there are enough places that don't, that I've been bitten a few times. We've talked about my travel experiences. And apparently that will never happen again, although I don't believe it. But yeah, due to COVID, I hadn't gone anywhere, which, I hadn't even gone out of my city. Well, that makes sense. But somebody in their infinite wisdom did not flag that sort of situation in their computer systems as this could be normal because of COVID not really letting anybody go anywhere, and you'd be stupid to go anywhere. And I got bit by not having the actual plastic. So yeah, you live, you learn. People try to keep each other safe. I don't know how I got from one to the other. Oh, plastic, that's what it was. The companies say you need to go paperless, and I find that funny because when something like your debit machine goes down or your credit card machine goes down, there is no backup. So if you guys were to take a look at your bank card, maybe wouldn't be a good example because that's what we, it's a Visa debit thing these days. But if you take a look at your credit card, for example, there's no longer any raised lettering on it. I'm not quite sure why that's the case. I mean, not being able to read it because things rub off is one thing, but not being able to, they don't do the swipe papers anymore. And I kind of wish that was still a thing, because when you end up in a situation where there's no connectivity for the device that's trying to do the reading, there is no way to pay for stuff unless you have good old-fashioned cash, which I don't carry cash anymore for two reasons. One, these days there's enough security on plastic that for the most part, people don't usually get mugged for their bank cards or credit cards. There's, physically having the card doesn't really help a thief much, so I feel that I'm less likely to be a mug target in that respect. I mean, I might be for other reasons, but not for that. Another reason I don't is because when I carried cash, it felt like it burnt a hole in my pocket. It felt like it wasn't tagged to anything, and it was free money. It felt disposable at all times. And that's not the case. We're almost at the top of the hour, so I am aware that we're almost on borrowed time here. This one. So, yes, that's a derail, but just letting everybody know that we're almost done here. If we can start looking for a raid target, that would be appreciated. But yes, so it just companies are talking about how this is paperless. You can go paperless now. Well, great. But if your payment institution is going to freeze your accounts because you tried to use a paperless system, or you get stuck somewhere where you need to pay for something and they have an internet issue, you know, the internet being flaky, or they have, or for some reason it's a cellular thing and you end up in the middle of somewhere where there is no coverage, you know, you suddenly can't pay for squat, and that's problematic. It's not a paperless society when that's the case. Even taking my plastic with me, though, when we had no internet, would not have solved the problem. So, I mean, it's not a perfect solution. I need to do those ones where, you know, I take emergency cash with me, especially when I'm traveling in Canada. But it's one of those things that I don't usually need it, so I don't go out much of anywhere. So, yeah. The other one that catches you, and went back on the checks thing real quickly, is every once in a while, I'll do something where I may be buying, say, used dance shoes. I was looking at that. Then there was a question as to whether or not the person handling the sales on behalf of the original shoe owner, so sort of a kind of a consignment situation, but not quite, because it was just one where the original shoe owner was asking their dance instructor to take care of it. Anyway, it turned out that there was some questions to whether or not they were going to be able to accept one of those email or text cash transfers, even a bank digital transfer, because the original person hadn't set up their account for it, was of an age that did not know how to use those, and so they would prefer physical check. No. Not that I don't want to. I didn't bring it with me, because I don't do that. Ads will be starting in 2 minutes. For some reason, I have accidentally disabled my moderator notice / ability to easily snooze them. If any of the moderators has the ability to do so, I would recommend it. But Mama Bear's on a phone call, and Fantastic Shot Fox is pretty busy, so I don't know. Apologies if you do get the ads. We are at the top of the hour, but you're going to get them, sadly, whether we like it or not. Ew! 30 seconds, okay. In 2 minutes, 30 seconds. So as soon as that comes off, I do apologize. I will definitely get rid of that. Somebody may have muted it, we'll see. But we'll get ourselves out of here and read on out. Now we have approximately 2 shulkers worth of sand. I will probably finish up some of this layering so we can get moving on and see if I can get the smelting started. But it's a thing. I'm glad. Yes, we're definitely going to go to Wolfen. It is whatever day of the week it is. No clue. It's one of those days. Oh, it's Tuesday. Yes, it is Wolfen. Sweet. It's a Wolfen day. Perfect. All right. So, no idea what happened there, but we are going to head ourselves over to Wolfen. There you go.
Ads are starting. Dylan will continue the conversation after the ads are over. Thank you for supporting the stream.
Murphy's Law! Alright. So we'll see what we can do about that. You know, there's always an option. Had a great time talking with you guys today. I hope you weren't too, I don't know. We'll see. Uninterested. But I'm definitely going to start working on figuring out the design for this clock thing, because there needs to be a glass layer for sure. And we'll find out whether or not I'm going to be using some of these sandstone blocks. And I need to talk to the rest of the server people to see about whether or not there's an easy way to get a ton of gold. Because a gold pocket watch would probably be awesome. In the meantime, let's get ourselves going on the way over to Wolfen and get that raid started so we can say our thank yous to everybody. Do. Maybe. Okay. So slash. Oh, there we go. Again. Aha. Sometimes the buttons like me, sometimes they don't. There we go. We're headed on over. Wolfen always has some... Oh, good lord. Always has some great things going on in her stream. So thank you very much for everybody that stuck around today. I appreciate it. We are certainly going to try and push our way towards some more projects, but there's also little maintenance projects that need being done in between. Thank you very much to our moderation team today with Mama Bear and Fantastic Sherlock Fox. We had a great conversation from Bobrine, Poodle Pirate, Creef, and we are on our way to see Wolfen. I will be hanging out a little bit, but possibly lurking as well. Have yourself a fantastic day, and bye-bye for now.
Transfer complete.